Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the Skeshbook podcast, the number one art podcast in the Milky Way galaxy. Yep, that's what we're going with. Anyways, in this episode, we have a guest. We have a special guest, Aditi Kakade Beaufrand. Let me tell you about her. Aditi is an Indian children's book illustrator based out of South France, and she has illustrated over 8 children's books in the past few years in her unique and whimsical style, which has that spice of Indian cultural look and touch to it. And in this podcast, Aditi and I talked about a whole bunch of things, from her journey as an animation graduate to becoming a children's book illustrator, how she started freelancing, how she landed her first children's book gig, and the steps that led to that, her experiences with art agents and being represented by an art agency, how it works, and how you can get an agent too. And we talked about how she manages her goal of working on personal projects and doing client work, and how she gets all those sweet inspiration for her work. So it's a whole bunch of things. We took a while to warm up while we started talking, but once we got into it, I think I unlocked a lot of really nice insights during this podcast, and I think that might help you too. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking. Let's get into the podcast. So yeah, roll intro. Before we get into the podcast, a shout out to our incredible sponsor, Drawing Camp. For people who are new, Drawing Camp is an art program created by yours truly. That's me, by the way. It's a 14-part program that covers everything that you need to know about being a cartoonist, illustrator, and a character designer. We start right from the fundamentals and work ourselves up to character design, anatomy, finding your style, and imaginative drawing, step by step by step. I created this course as a gift for my past young self who couldn't find the right tutor or tutoring to learn drawing from scratch or learn drawing the way I do. So if you're interested in the program, click the link down below in the description. And if you want to try this thing out, we have a free chapter. The first chapter is free. So if you're new to drawing, all that you do is just enroll into the first chapter and do that. You're good to go. And if you want to draw stylized heads and draw them in a cartoonic form, I have a free chapter, full-on free course actually on drawing heads. So go check that out. That's called Drawing Heads Made Simple. That's also down below in the description. So yeah, let's get into the podcast. All right, Aditi, that's how we roll. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we keep things, casual like we did. So we spoke yesterday for people who are listening. We spoke yesterday. We had a long conversation, and then I wish I recorded some of that. Right. So, but yeah. Anyways, I think good to have you here, and you just really get into all the things that we held ourselves from talking to, right? We'll get into that today, right? So tell me about yourself. Like, what's your backstory? How did you get into art? How did you get into drawing? How did you come to be doing the thing that you're doing right now?
Since childhood, I liked drawing, and my parents really encouraged me to take it up. They were artists themselves. They are artists themselves. And after that, I thought I had like a knack for doing, I was interested in graphic design. Then it's accumulated to like illustration and graphic design, and then I thought about going into animation. So I went into animation. I did 2D and 3D animation. When I started working as a 3D animator, I did not like it at all. Yeah. So I decided to go back and switch to illustration, which I really enjoyed. Even while studying, I like doing my own concepts and writing my own stories and everything. So I decided to go into children's book illustration.
Right. So your parents were artists, right?
Yeah, my parents are artists. Yeah, my mom did textile designing, and she's doing interior designing. My dad is an architect, and he also does interior design.
That's interesting. How is it like growing up in a household with artists? How does it
chaos, because everyone has like a way to do things, and me, I don't like following like a certain like a curriculum or whatever, like step by step. Like I try to invent my own and try to fit it to what works for me. So it was difficult to like follow my parents. So like I completely, they had a way to do things. And my mom also used to take classes for some time.
Right.
And she used to make me sit in those classes, but I did not like it.
You
I did not
didn't
like
like their
following.
process, huh? You didn't like their
No.
process, the way they did. Well, what kind of art did they do?
So my mom did everything from sculpting, painting,
Oh, wow. Okay.
watercolors, ceramics, so on and so forth. My dad really like doing caricatures and cartoons.
Right.
So they tried teaching me.
That's interesting. I think you sort of got a mix of both from inspiration wise. Was your mother like more like a fine artist?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I see it. Okay. All right. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, she was a fine artist, but she's like slowly shifted to commercials, and she liked doing interior design because she likes seeing her work in a space.
That's neat. That's nice. It's very interesting for me to sort of, my parents were artists too. In a sense, my dad likes to draw, but he doesn't draw. He likes to draw, but he's more of a business person. And then my mom is like an artist. She's a classical dancer, but she loves drawing and painting. And I think got a lot of that from my mother too.
Yeah, you're entrepreneur in arts.
So sort of, look, when I look back, I like look at these people. Oh, this is where it's coming from, obviously, right?
Both worlds.
Exactly. And this is something that I'd like to get into, which is yesterday we were talking about college, right? And you studying animation, and how we sort of have similar experiences when it came to animation, and how it came to be. So you went and studied animation, 2D and 3D, right? Which college was it? It's in India.
It's in India. Both are in Pune. It's Mayor's Institute of Design.
So Merit?
Mayor's Institute of Design.
All right. Okay.
So it's like short MIT. In short, it's called MIT. And like 30-40 meters from MIT, there is DSK, Supinfocom Rubica International School. I did 3D animation over there. Masters in 3D animation.
Masters in 3D. Oh, so just for me to get an idea. So what kind of, this is a silly question. It's like asking an artist, what kind of pen do you use? Even though at the end of the day, it's not the pen that does the work, it's the artist. But just for me to get an idea, what kind of program do they use particularly in the industry?
So they use Maya and RenderMan. They don't really teach 3ds Max, Houdini sometimes, and all those software to render and do 3D animation.
Okay. That's nice. And you sort of went from there to illustration. So how did it come about? How did you go like when you studied 3D and 2D and to illustration?
So when you're in school, you get like, by school I mean university. I have a habit of calling it school. When you're in school, that when you're making your film or you're doing any project, you get to decide each and every step of that project. You get to come up with the concept, tell the story, do your initial sketches, rough sketches, and then design your character, design your background. You can do all of those things when you're in school.
Right.
When you're doing your own film in a team, okay, you still get to you can do 2 or 3 departments. For example, I did storyboarding when we are doing our 5th-year movie. Towards the end of the years, 4th and 5th year, 4th year, you have to do like a 1-minute film, animation film. And in 5th year, you have to do like a 5-minute film with a group.
Right.
So in 4th year, you get to do each and everything for your own film. And in 5th year, you can at least like touch the drawing and illustration departments. So in that, I did storyboarding, character design, and animation.
Right. Okay.
And bit of concept. And when I started working, I couldn't touch any of the illustrating departments, and it was just animation, looking at a gray screen and animating the characters, because most of the work for which I got during while working in a full-time job was outsourced work.
Right.
So it was like do it fast, finish the quota of like 4 to 8 seconds every day, and just like doing. I didn't enjoy it at all. So I was like, okay.
Sorry, I mean, is it like a very hectic atmosphere to work in
It's quite hectic. If you really want to do animation, you would really learn a lot from that environment, like how to in school you are trained to meet deadlines, but here you're trained to like technically meet deadlines on the dot, like
Right.
how to, like, even if you're not I'm talking in 3D terms, but you are taught to like manipulate your graphs to like achieve an animation without like you kind of like doing both. I'm going off topic, sorry, like I'm going little.
What is it? Sort of like some sort of like a little manipulation, sort of get more seconds in. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you get more seconds in, and you learn the little tricks to nail your animation, to nail your beats.
Okay, got it.
In short, sorry.
All right. Now I get it.
So doing that wasn't too much, like it wasn't fun for me. So I was like, okay, let's go back into illustration. And luckily, I did an internship in Bangalore, which I did not like. And that was in the fourth year, and fifth year I had to go back and work on my film. So while working on my film, like I used to finish working at 11 and then go back at 12, and then work on my illustration.
Right. Okay. So you like to make pieces.
Yeah. So, and I realized like I'm waiting the whole day to just come back to my room and draw. So I was like, okay, this is not, I'm not doing something right. Like I'm not happy the whole day doing animation. I'm just waiting to come and like draw on paper to feel good and feel relaxed.
Right. So partly working in that animation firm was sort of like a big driver for you to sort of move away from animation. Yeah. Yes. Right. And I get it. This is the process. Like we were talking about this, right? Like the process is pretty repetitive. A lot of people. I was just writing a script actually for a video today, and I was talking about my want to be an animator when I was a kid, and I realized that I didn't want to draw frames and things over and over again when I graduated high school. And when I tried to get into animation, it's like, I don't think this is exactly my thing. But yeah, now I see a lot of people like watching animation, but not like making animation.
I still really love watching animation, but
yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
It takes way too long. Like you work for a month and you have like 30-40 seconds if you're working alone.
Do you sometimes
like rather have like a beautiful finished piece by the end of the day, and I'm happy.
Right, that is interesting. I sort of get that mindset because I'm sort of from there as well. But sometimes it makes me question: do you ever think there's this extreme value in doing these really hard things, which brings about these amazing results?
True, I agree with you, but it also depends on which direction you're going into. If the process is not making you happy,
true, very true.
Then it doesn't make sense. But in a way, like the process, it could be a longer process. Like for example, you want to exercise and lose weight, so like the process obviously is like horrible. I hate that. I don't like exercising so much, but
what really?
But in the end, sorry.
I don't know. Actually, I kind of get that too. I mean, I used to be pretty overweight, but I made exercising sort of like a fun process for me. It was horrible at start,
Okay.
but then you sort of need to find something that you really like. Then it becomes pretty easy, actually. But yeah, that's my experience.
I don't like doing repetitive things. So like doing the same
Ah,
exercise again, it's kind of boring for me. And then
oh,
finding each and
true.
exercise each exercise every day to torture myself is like no.
No, I get that. I get that. I get that. Sorry, you were saying this because of it was an analogy to something. I interrupted. What? Why were we talking about this?
Where did I switch from? Oh no, the hard work. The hard
All
work pays
right,
off in
right,
the
right.
long run.
Yeah, you not liking the process. Not liking the
Yeah, not liking the
process.
process.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
plus, I like short projects.
Hmm. Okay, that is
Mm.
interesting. That
Like 2 or 3 months is good, but like if it goes for like 1 year, it's too much.
for me, 3 months is a long project. Pretty long project.
But yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. But usually, book illustration usually takes three months to
Yeah,
do.
you're used to it actually at this point in
Yeah.
time. Like how many children's book have you completed so far right now?
So far, around 8.
Whoa, whoa, that's a lot of books. 8 children's books.
Mm, I
So
want to do more.
you want to do more, and I see that
Yeah.
passion in you. I think you will definitely do more. You're pretty focused on that front, and you've clearly communicated that a lot. And on all through even all your social channels, I'm able to say, okay, she wants to tell stories, and most likely do books, and like you said, Indian based stories, or something that draws a lot of
Yeah.
inspiration from our culture. Let's talk
Mm.
about that, which is making children's books. And how is it like? Because I talk to a lot of people about the process of children's books,
Mhm.
and a lot of time I hear horror stories. It's like how hard it is. Sometimes I hear like very nice stories. It's like, it was a fun project, it took me a month and a half or 2 months to finish. Some people say, man, I've been working on this. Was that what they call a book dummy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, for like, man, 8 months, and I'm still not done. I'm like, I don't get
Yeah.
it. So what is it like? What is a process like for a children's book? Like, how do you go from start to finish? Like, I obviously cannot talk about the entire thing. And just if you had to sort of go and tell a monkey how a children's book is made, what would it be like?
Yeah, so usually like you'll get a script from your clients, and sometimes they tell you exactly what they want, which
Uh
is
huh.
amazing.
Oh,
Like so
okay.
you don't have to go back and forth.
Right.
You'll get a script, and they'll give you, usually they give you, with my experience, like some publishers, like some clients will give you a full layout. Like they place
Right.
the text everywhere and tell you like this is your space to draw, this is your space to draw.
Oh, really? Oh, right. So they sometimes do the layout themselves.
Yes, and then some, like usually big publishers, they will have a person who is doing the layout, the person who's doing a cover, and
Hmm.
person who is like editing the text and everything. So it's a big team.
Right, 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 right. It's not just the
And
artist and the author. I thought it was just the artist, the author, and the editor, I'm assuming.
yeah, if it's self-published, then yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
the author who will tell you like, oh, this is what I feel, this is this is what I want to depict. Can you do this? So
Right, right.
in that way, like, but now I've got like pretty good at reading like how and if a process is going to be hard for me, like if working with a
Hmm.
client is going to be hard for me, or it's going to be like it's going to be smooth. So that do they know exactly what they want?
Hmm.
So
Okay.
this is like the, I feel that this is the longest process to
Mm.
in children's book illustration, where you're discussing with the client what they want.
Right, 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 right. So this is the part where you sort of try to get their vision on in a
Yes.
tangible words. You try to nail it
Yes.
down. Okay, okay, okay.
What's sometimes I ask them like, okay, like if you want, you can just give me like stick figures on your layout, so like I know
Ah,
where you want to place the characters. Or if not, then I'll send like rough sketches, but in the layouts.
mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Um, you you see like when you're doing a general children's book, you'll have like character designs and like head turnarounds and all the characters like in a lineup and then backgrounds and everything. Sometimes there is no time for that
Right,
when
right,
you
right.
do, when you have like only 2 or 3 months to do the project.
Okay, okay. So you don't do all the
So
designing process, the character design. I mean, meaning not as detailed as it could.
no, it would be like a simple character design, and they would tell like usually my work is a bit extensive, so they can tell me like from okay, this is the character I like from your work.
Right.
Can you
Okay.
change these things and put it in this context?
Okay, okay, okay. So first the script comes in, you and the publishing house or the author, you guys try to nail down the ideas and the vision for the book. And then
Yes.
you have the design process if you have time. And if you don't have time, you go straight into what would be the next step then?
Going straight into doing rough illustrations for each and every page to get the story beat right and the characters and the posing right.
Okay, 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 okay.
And then after the entire thing is nailed, like all the pages are nailed down, then you go into establishing the color. So I would
Right.
do like an entire book, the entire book with rough colors. Like I would make the illustration really small if there's like and then just fill in the colors very roughly so that they have a look they can look at the entire book and see like okay, roughly this is going to look like this.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so they can, so it's easy, like color process takes a lot of time, and which this is the usual process which has the least amount of time given to the illustrator
Oh,
most of
right.
the time.
But it's
So
also it's one of the most important steps though.
yeah.
Even with me when I'm doing something, I think color makes a world of difference. I mean, the amount of time I spend on colors makes a world of difference for the art. And this is where you get the least amount of time for you to work.
Mostly. Yeah.
Right. Is it because it's usually at the end of the thing after all the final sketches are approved?
Yes, end of the thing, and then the known like usually when this is nailed down, there is no changes usually to the design. So there is no input from the editor or editor or author or layout artist. So it's like you alone doing all these all the pages by yourself.
Okay. So what happens after that then?
After
How does
that, you
send
you
send
send
the book?
them the PSD files, so they put it in the layout and they send it back to you for approval. Usually, so far my clients have been very nice that they will send it to me back for approval, where they have like edited some parts and blah blah blah. Like for example, if it's chapter books, they will put like chapter name and then put some of the illustrations which I did into like the decoration around like
Right.
illustration around it, and they'll send it back to me like, do you approve of this? With the team we made these changes, do you approve? And then I was like, yeah, okay. And then we go ahead with the
You're like, yeah, okay, that's approved right now, you go ahead with that. All right, that's pretty. And then I think from what I've heard, at least, right, from a lot of people, I think 3 months is a pretty good amount of time to I think that's a very speedy process, isn't it?
Right, that's pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah, because I've always heard like from most people, children's book usually takes 6, 7, or 8 months if they really put in their time and effort. And some people even take, I heard, like as much as like a year, 12 months, something like that. I don't know. I've heard. I listen to these podcasts by children's book illustrators and so many people. They seem to take a lot of time.
Which podcast did you listen to?
I think SBS Learn. What is it? 3-point perspective.
3-point perspective. Yeah, I'm listening to them too.
Yeah, pretty good, right? Jake Parker, and even whenever Lee White and Will Terry, right? And I've noticed with Jake Parker, he takes his time with children's books. I mean, I think he might have. Those guys have done a lot of books, but I think they have done books that are like in 2 months and 3 months and 4 months. But from what I've heard, it's usually always like 6, 7, or 8 months or something like that. Yeah.
If your budget can cover your 6 months, then it's excellent. I would be okay to do 6 months.
Sometimes.
But usually the budget that you get is like for 3 months.
Oh, right. Okay. So do you have like a goal for like how many books you want to produce per year, or are you just winging it right now?
Right now winging it, but I would like if I see that I have time to do 2 or 3 projects at the same time, so I would take like 3 projects in the span of like October to say February.
Uh-huh. Okay. Three projects between October to Feb? Wait, I
Yeah,
didn't get
that's
that.
the usual time that I get a lot of children's books. The rest of the year is like other kind of books, nonfiction
Wait,
or in encyclopedia and all that stuff.
hold
I'm
on.
going into too much detail, so
No.
check
That's
it out.
interesting. Wait, hold on a second. Wait. October to Feb is like October, November, December, Jan, Feb. So in 5 months, you get 3 books done?
Yeah.
Really? Whoa. I thought it's like 3 months per book. So you were like doing 4 books
So,
per year. Oh,
yeah,
all right.
that's like the very hectic time for me.
Oh, that's winter. That was the winter you were talking about.
Yeah, that's so yesterday where we can go. Yesterday we talked about the
Yeah.
time where I illustrate a lot of books, like when my working hours are hectic. So that's the winter time where I get a lot of projects.
Jeez. So okay, yesterday, yeah, like so to give people some context, yesterday we were talking about you working straight up for like a couple of months, even with the weekends off,
Yeah.
right? You don't take weekends, and oh boy, I didn't know 5 months and 3 books. God, that sounds hard. And so the rest of the year, how do you pace it out? Do you feel a bit drained after that, or how did it happen?
I'm very drained after that, so, and I cannot think about taking more projects. But like I try to space it out. Like starting in March, I would take a new project, and then like June, July, and August, like I would take like one or two projects.
Okay. So,
So
so
I
you sort
space
of
it out
take a
like
little
that.
break, and
Yeah,
that means you're producing like 4 to 5 books per year. Yeah,
maybe yeah.
yeah.
I hope so.
So you'd be like you'd be having like approximately 20-25 books in like 5 years. That's a lot of books.
Yay!
Yeah, that's good. That's amazing, and it's good that you're focused. You're focused, and you're doing that for full time.
I'm a person who I like to keep myself occupied with some or the other thing. Like some projects needs to be going on in the background for me.
Right. Okay. So it's
Mm.
not just the books. You have some little side projects and mini projects going on in the
Yeah,
background.
yeah,
Is it because you like to have like at least 1 or 2 things to work on so that the main
yes.
thing doesn't get boring? Okay. I do that too. Yeah, I get
That also, and then I like to like have a project, knowing like to keep me kind of grounded. Like
that.
if I don't have a project or something to work on, I kind of go crazy. I need to
I can relate to that. I
like
need something. I need something to
yeah,
ground
and
routine. Sorry, go on.
exactly. And it also comes from like anime, like it's kind of like animation and illustration. Like in animation you take a lot of time to finish something,
Mm,
and at the end of the day you have a few frames.
right.
But for me, like end of the day, I need to know that I did something productive. I use my day.
Right. Okay.
Like
You use your
whereas
day
in
well.
animation you come the next day and you scrap all the previous drawings you did the day before. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
You don't feel like you've made progress. I mean, or it's
Yeah.
hard to see day-to-day progress in animation compared
Yes.
to say illustration, where the progress is very evident to.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I get that. So how did you break into this? Because a lot of people who are like sort of listening to this, some of them would like to get into children's books, and how do they start? Someone can illustrate well. How would someone like get a children's book deal, or how can someone get into this quote unquote industry?
So I don't know if there is like a straightforward process to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, when I finished my studies, I had a job in doing background illustration for children's book. One
Okay.
of my friends, he was doing the basic like environments and doing the character design and everything, but
Right.
he was doing it as a freelancer and he did not have a lot of time. So the clients hired me as a background artist to finish up kind of
Ah.
like fill in the blanks.
Is it like a client or like a publishing house?
It was a client.
Oh,
Like
right. Okay.
he wanted to do like a series, a book series as well as TV series. I don't know how it's going right now,
Mm.
but yeah, he wanted to do those things, and I got to do background design
Okay.
in that. And when I finished that background design, I did not have any prospects because I was like working in a small place, and I couldn't publish any of the work I had done.
Right. 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 Oh, you cannot show it.
No, I
E-
cannot show. I couldn't
Even,
show it for the next 2 years at least.
oh, so sort of like a non-disclosure thing.
Yeah, I had signed an NDA to not disclose
Ah,
it for some time.
right. So, but you can show it to clients, though, other potential prospects and clients.
Yeah, but I did not have any clients.
Oh, back then. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So I started doing like I started practicing on my own, publishing like putting work on Instagram and Behance daily, and started doing a lot of challenges. Like back in the
Ah.
day on Facebook, there was like spit paints and character design challenge.
Oh, yeah. 30 minute spit paint.
Yeah, 30 minutes spit
Oh
paint.
yeah, I love that. I love that. You make something in 30 minutes, man. The kind of
Yeah.
paintings people, what do you say? Paint in 30 minutes. No, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so daunting to see like beautiful illustration done in like 30 minutes. I'm crying over it and trying to come up with the concept, and I'm sort of struggling so bad.
Right. That is okay. That's good. So you did a lot of challenges in a character
Yeah.
design challenge. Mm-hmm.
So that, and then I posted it on all the social medias possible, and it did not get me like clients per se, but it got a lot of following. And then I did like Inktober challenges.
Okay.
Okay, and then in that, like there was like I drew a lot of characters.
Uh-huh.
So like one of my friend asked me if I can do her sister's wedding illustration,
Oh,
like
right. Okay.
invite,
Right.
like
Okay.
invite for her.
Okay.
So because of that, I got a lot of more work in doing wedding illustration. I still do.
Right. That's nice. Okay. Okay.
So going from there, like I drew a lot of characters, and I was constantly talking to other artist friends, like reaching out to them, like talking to them, like not asking for work, but like just having conversation. So
Okay.
one of them like saw my work and she recommended my work to Pratham Books. You know
Uh-huh.
that
Right.
publication?
I've heard of them. Heard of them. I think, yeah, I've heard of the name a lot. Where are they based out of?
I think Bangalore. I'm
Oh
not sure.
yes. Oh, now I get. Yeah. You have the book?
I don't have my book. My book was published recently, so it's in my parents' house.
No. Okay, no worries. Cool.
So I don't have my book yet.
So
In hands.
were reached out to by Pratham Books.
Yeah. So in a span of 1 week, I got 2 book projects.
Ah, wow, really? Two children's books?
Thanks. 2 children's books, thanks to my friend putting word to many of her to the editors and art directors she has worked with in Pratham Books.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So the friend you were sort of, okay, now I get it. Okay.
So and then I moved to France, and I still keep doing. I tried everything. I did comics. I tried decorative illustration, and like fan art and all those stuff. Like I kept trying, and the agency contacted me. My agency, which represents me to do children's books and editorial. illustration, they contacted me and they asked me like if I have any work to show. Luckily, I had the
Two
Pratham book,
books.
so
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Yeah, we'll take you." And then from that, that happened in the start of COVID.
Oh, okay.
In
Okay.
April 2020,
20.
they
Oh,
took
right.
me on, and since then I have produced 4 or 5 books with them.
That is pretty neat. You know what I see when I hear your story, right? Like how you got into it. There's this always this big question for like a lot of people who are starting out, right? Like this, like how do I get into it? I don't see the path, and it seems all uncertain. And for me, I have a very similar thing, which is I kept on putting out work upon work and work, and every single time I put out work, I felt like, you know what, if this opens up 1 or 2 doors, I'll be happy. But the thing is, I couldn't see what's going to be the potential opportunity. It'll be like a blank thing, but you sort of put all your hopes in, or sometimes not. You just try to do the very best with that project, and sometimes it opens up another one, and then another one, and another one, and then sort of see the same thing with you. You started putting out work on social media, and first you started as a background artist, then you started putting out work on social media, and then you started doing little client projects and freelance work, right? And from then you had that as a base to first get your step in, which is your first 2 children's books, and then now you're sort of playing in a bigger field where you're making more books, right? That is amazing. So one thing leads. Yeah, so go on.
Sorry, continue.
No, so sort of one thing leads to another, and you cannot. Man, I hate that cliche quote, which is you cannot see the doors looking forward, you can only see looking backwards. That is so bloody true. That is true. Sorry, you were about to say something.
Yes, this process, like I've listened to a lot of podcasts and talked to many illustrators who are right now doing a lot of children's books and like very successful in their field. But what they don't say to you directly is that the process was very frustrating.
Which particular process are you talking about?
Like showing up every day, looking up, and then like pushing yourself to do one illustration. Like you would, for example, there were like months where I did not have any work, or I did not have any clients, or nothing was working for me. But right. I like showed up every day in front of my desk, in front of my computer, and I kept producing illustrations.
So was this before you got your first book?
Before I got my first book, after doing the 2 books, there was silence for a very long time.
Wow.
So I didn't know, I was finishing up my projects, and I did not know where the next projects will come from.
Right. But yet you showed up and you just kept on putting in the work.
It's just showing up and doing your work and keep on doing it. Do it for the love of the process and to improve yourself. If you don't have a project, find out the things you like. I like food. I like illustrating food. I like illustrating decorative pieces, and some kids like playing and having fun. Illustrating my childhood stories. So I kept doing that when I did not have any work, and I kept telling myself it will come.
That is pretty interesting. If I had sort of if I look at it, because I'm able to see your thing from perspective, because you were on the front lines, you were in the middle of the battle. I'm from here. I'm use a lot of analogies. From here,
I like it. It's imaginative. That's how we think usually.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Training that creative brain right there.
Exactly.
From here, I'm able to sort of take a couple of lessons, even though when you're sort of in the middle of it, you're not able to see a lot of things. A lot of things is not clear, and it's pretty scary and uncertain. But from the looks of it, it's always keep on putting out work, keep on making work, actually, which is that sort of comes from you showing up, even when you didn't have any potential prospects, you kept on showing up, you're working on personal projects, you're doing these challenges, you're doing these things. So that is one big thing right there. You were always working on either projects for others or personal projects. You were doing some sort of project all the time. And that is one, show up, and also know that even if you sort of have to make it, meaning for most people, they know it's the toughest part is getting their first children's book, right? But you got two, then you still had a period of silence which you sort of had to deal with, and then came your other phase where you got these continuous gigs and continuous books, right? That is pretty, and so during those periods of time, we need to handle that uncertainty well and just keep on going, keep on making things. That's what I'm sort of getting from this. Because I'm just saying all these things out loud because I'll eventually forget it, right? and what I'll do is okay, see, this is what happened to Aditi. Okay, keep stuff like that in mind. Even if you sort of have to make it, there's always these periods of uncertainty. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that uncertainty?
Well, usually I go crazy, but now I'm trying to find yes. Every day, then I divide my day. Even now, sometimes I don't have work for 1 or 2 months, and projects are finishing, and people are wrapping, the publications are wrapping up the process to do marketing and publishing and everything. So they don't really need an illustrator during that process.
Right. So
if I don't have any prospects of getting work, I try to work on my own projects. For example, I would like to do cover illustrations. So I'm learning, I'm teaching myself typography. I'm teaching myself, I take classes.
Right.
We talked about this yesterday. I'm taking some domestic classes to improve myself. The good thing for you, the healthy thing for you, for at least in my way of doing it. In my perspective, the healthy way to not go crazy would be try to plan your future in a way that what you would like, what projects you would like to work in your future, what you haven't worked right now.
Okay.
For example, I would like to do book covers. Maybe I would like to I'm very interested in graphic design, but illustration, I would like to do something between illustration and graphic design, more decorative art.
Right. Okay, so you're sort of developing a whole new other skill set.
Yes. Some editorial work. I would like to put my foot in those waters.
Right, you're doing the right thing right there. I mean, sort of, I see a lot of what do you say, overlapping business principles that sort of is coming in here, which sort of applies to the world of art, and sort of principles from the art world applying here as well. So every single time, so when I think about what I do as one, I think about what I do as an artist, and two, what I do as a business. And I always say, okay, I need to keep on evolving and getting better and adding new skills, even during those times of uncertainty, or else eventually the business will go out of business. Because if in the words of Gary Vee, he's this entrepreneur guy. I think you might know him or not. I don't know. He always says, you got to put yourself out of business, meaning find ways to put yourself out of business. Somebody else will do. You might as well do it, so that you actually respond to that by developing a new skill set, which will actually help you be in the business for a longer time, right? So I see that. So you're developing the skill, and you try to do new things during those periods of uncertainty.
Yes.
Do some sort of project that might open doors, or a different set of doors, right?
Yes. For example, doing little challenges may not, what I told you about the spit paints and Inktober challenges and all those things, may not be fruitful at the end of the month when the challenge is over, but in the run, maybe in the next 2 or 3 months, it might be very fruitful.
Oh yeah, I
Like
think
someone will catch on
yeah,
to
yeah.
it, and yeah,
True. No, I love art challenges.
there's so much content out there. It's really hard.
Yeah, true. Way too much. Oh boy, you're jinxing right now, because I was literally yesterday I was talking to my friend about how there's like way too much content these days, and the media landscape is slowly changing, and it's going to have go through a big change. Instagram is going to go, it's already going through a big change right now, and that's going through a big change. There's way too much content. People are so attention deficit with TikTok and shorts and reels. That's my perspective. No, I don't think people listening to this don't have to agree with me, but yeah, I told you, right. I'm off social media, at least consuming part. It's really, God, I just feel like a weight has been lifted off of me, and that just feels so nice. So yeah, anyways, we're sort of going off the rails right now. One thing that I'd like to sort of talk to you about and ask you is, one, obviously agents is something even we were talking about yesterday, like how can one get one. And but before that, right, so you're doing your personal projects, right? You're doing these projects and you're doing these children's books. It takes you 3 months to start a project and finish one, and then you do personal projects on your own. How do you I have two questions for you on that thing. So one, how do you plan your project, and how do you stick with it, and how do you finish it, and how do you go through that different kinds of emotions that come through a project, right? Like boredom and fear and uncertainty and all that things. That is number one. I'm throwing a lot at you. Number two, you're on social media, right? You're on social media, you put content out there. Do you feel that pressure to be sort of constantly putting content out there to feel quote unquote relevant? Because a lot of things are sort of formed based on your social media presence, and if so, what is your approach to social media, and you putting yourself out there, and how do you do these projects, professional and personal projects? How do you go through them? How do you plan them? How do you finish them? And how do you think of those projects? Like, how do you select the kind of project? Meaning, would you select projects based on what you like, or would you select project based on, what, this is what would look good, to others, either online or offline, or to potential clients and publishers? How does it work?
Okay, so
A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. I had to write it down so that I could.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. So getting through a project, as you said, like the boring parts, the waiting, like after you submit each and every stage, like this, you'll read the script. While you're reading the script, they'll send you the contracts. So going through that, the negotiating, and then there is like a silence of a day or two where they discuss it with their teams and everything. So that kind of takes time. Like the budget, the financial matters, that will take time. So like it's kind of like, again, like each and every stage is like has a little bit of uncertainty.
Right. Obviously.
So starting out, when the clients will come to you with a project, they might be looking at 2-3 illustrators to do this set project.
Okay.
So you have to like do a sample illustration, obviously paid.
Right.
Always ask for paid sample illustration. Don't do it for free.
Okay. That is new. Yeah. Sometimes I don't even think about those things. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. Firstly, that's like, then there's uncertainty. Like it will go through, like if they like you, they will like ask you to do like little iterations to like so that they can internally discuss it with their team, like, oh, this illustrator is the right one, and she can do this, or he can do this, and it would be very good for the book.
Okay.
I can give you an example. If you see on my page, there is like book all about Diwali.
Okay.
And there is one illustration about the end of the entire family together celebrating Diwali.
Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
that was the pitch I gave, and
Right.
that's how I got the book. So like, so that process is kind of uncertain. Like you don't know if you're gonna get the project or no.
Right. So you're just doing that mock-up and sort of like a test illustration. Even though you're
Yeah.
getting paid for it, but you need that main gig.
Yes.
Right.
So in that uncertain periods, what you try and think about the basics,
Hmm.
like what would nail this project. In certain times, they will give you like a reference, like, oh, we have a book. In my case, they gave me the book about, they had done a book about Eid, all about Eid. So gave me the
Hmm.
reference of what they want to nail exactly
Hmm.
in the illustrations, the test that I have to do.
Okay.
So it's like family, and then the overall how Diwali is portrayed, and how you celebrate Diwali as a like as a group. So like
Hmm.
you have your cousins, your uncles and aunties, and your grandmother and everything. So I base this on my own experience of Diwali. Like my
Hmm.
grandmother would do the rangolis, my mom and grandmother would do like um, all the food, and my dad would like put up like all the lights and all those things. So I tried
Right.
to bring my personal experiences and memories, and to like form something which is
Uh-huh.
unique. At the
Okay.
same time, it doesn't look so in a way, for you to nail that project, you also take experience, like inspiration from your own experience, and you
Yeah.
put that forward. Like this is like you don't have to just send the illustration. You can send like, this is what happened, this is how I celebrate Diwali, so I've added these elements, and you are trying, like you're inching forward to nailing that project.
You're giving them context as to say the reason
Yes.
behind that illustration.
Yes. So
Right.
even if they are undecided between two illustrators, they'll be like, oh, this person has more heart into it. This person has like, oh,
Mm.
she's really depicting her way of celebrating Diwali with her family, and this could be useful in the other illustrations in the book
Mm.
that we want her to work on.
Yeah, it'll be more suited for the project. It'll be more contextual. Those people can
Mhm.
access more from their experiences because they have experience in those situations.
Mhm.
That is neat. All right.
Within the illustration, like you can look at
Mhm.
the illustration for a longer time and see like there are stories in each and every corner, and it makes it more interesting, not just
Right.
people standing and meeting each other, holding hands, hugging, and all those things.
Right. Okay. Got it. All right. So you got the book. It's sort of easy to finish a project when you do have accountability, when you are working for a client, you have a
Yeah.
publisher to answer to. But let's say you're doing a personal project, right? You're say
Mhm.
something, doing something ambitious. It's taking you 2 to 3 months. For you, 2 to 3 months is a short project. So right. It's taking that much time. uh, how do you sort of stick with it? I mean, even for me, right? For me, one of the projects that I'm doing, 1.5 years, 1.6 years long. We're about to finish it in the next three
Mhm.
months, right? Which is one of my programs, my art programs. I didn't even understand the commitment that I was getting into at the
Mhm.
start of it. It's like
Yeah.
1.4 years. Like most
Wow.
people, yeah, 1.4, 1 point, no, slightly above that. Yeah, 1.4 to 1.6.
Mhm.
So that's like, oh boy. But finally we stuck with it because we did have some accountability. We had a schedule, we had a deadline. Even though the answer
Mhm.
might be as simple as that: you have a schedule, you have a deadline, you put things on schedule, and you eventually chip away at it one thing at a time, and you're done.
Mhm.
uh, but how do you do it? What's your process when it comes to, say, finishing personal projects?
Personal projects, like it's for me, frankly speaking, it's complete chaos.
I can get it. That was a perfect answer right there. It's a complete chaos.
I would
No, I think a lot of us. I'm sorry, interrupting you there again. I mean, a lot of us actually think there's this very neat, perfect answer. Something you have this perfect schedule. You wake up 6 in the morning, go and do your personal project for 2.5 hours and get it done. But it's more like what I'm doing it here, doing it there, chaotic here, chaotic there. All right, so
Everywhere.
now
Yeah.
go on.
Yes. So like for example, I want to do say like a series of illustrations about clothes. It's been a long time since I want to do it, but I haven't started it or haven't like even close to finish.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. You haven't started?
Like I did like 3 rough sketches, and I was like, I'm feeling very uncertain. I'm feeling very like what's
Uh-huh.
happening. Like there's no way for me. I don't see what the end product is.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so like I would now I stepped back and I went back into research,
Mm-hmm.
and like I make like a book dummy, like just rough pages. Like I would take an A4 sheets, like
Mm.
fold it, make like a book dummy, and then like very small, like it's like as big as your hand.
Right.
And I would
Okay.
write down like on which pages. It's not going to be a book, it's a personal project which I'll upload on my websites, but I try to make it in a way I know how things work. I've
Okay.
done a lot of books, so I
Yeah.
know how to make it in a book format, and I can visualize a completion in that format.
Okay. Okay.
So I would say I want 32 pages, and on each page I would just write down like the information and the illustration what is going to go on that page.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then from there, like I would put it on my wall, or I would like scan it and put it on my computer and say like, okay, this dates I'm going to finish these pages. if
All
i
right.
don't if I don't finish it on those days, I do not hold myself accountable for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't curse myself like, oh, you suck, you did not finish this page that day,
Uh-huh.
it's not gonna get over ever again, and I don't make myself feel guilty about it.
Okay. Okay.
I'll come back to it later when I feel like it's a personal project, so there is no
Mm.
one holding you accountable to finish it.
All
At
right.
the
Right.
same time, you don't have to be abusive to yourself that you're
Uh-huh.
not showing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. And before I used to do that a lot, and I never used to finish a project. But now, since I don't take it too seriously, I feel like, oh, today maybe I'll work on this project, and it's easier for me to like at least do like 1 or 2 rough sketches, 1 or 2, like even more than what I had planned to do.
Right, right. So you sort of pace yourself out, and you try to give yourself a little bit of freedom when it comes to these
Mm.
personal projects. I think I have one of the projects I did, a little mini project. I also did the same. Like I only illustrated whenever I felt like, and
Mhm.
I just kept on going and going. It took a lot of time. It took like a couple of months break in between to while I was doing that. But in the end, it got finished, and I sort of liked it. It was like, oh, it's a nice little thing.
Mm.
And yeah, sometimes that works actually. Being nice to yourself, that works.
Mhm.
So final question, is something that I'd like to get into is agents, and how does agents work, especially in the children's book thing. How do you get one?
Okay.
For some people need, and we were talking about this yesterday, right?
Yes, it
We
is.
were discussing about this. And then if say someone's listening to this, they'd like to sort of go and approach an agency.
Mm.
How would they do that? Because a lot of people don't get an email from an agency unless they're really good at it, right? And some people need to go and approach to them. So how would they do that?
Mm.
What would be the process like? How would you do it
If I wasn't approached by an agency,
if you're approaching an agency?
um, in a way, like what I can do is like follow the agency on Instagram and maybe Twitter, and see when they are looking for illustrators. Sometimes they put it up, some agency put it up, some agency don't. You can get in touch with the agents within the agency. Sometimes they have in their description, in their bio on Instagram, that they are representing artists for this agency.
Right. Got it. Okay.
That's the other way of doing it. It's like you can follow them and like talk to them a little bit about their work, what they are doing, rather than telling them, hey, check out my work and I want to be part of your agency. To show like maybe like you can if you have like a common interest or something like that.
Okay.
And then if they have like, they will in turn like maybe look at your work and be like, oh, this might be interesting for me, for my agency later on. So they'll save your work, and when they see that you keep producing work, even if it's like not your best work, but it's consistent and it's like showing up every day.
Right.
Maybe that would help. Okay. Or you can go on agency's website and directly keep on sending them emails every month.
Okay. Like, reach out to them constantly through different channels.
Yeah.
With proper work though. Yeah.
Have like a bunch of agency check out their terms and conditions and how they work, and if you just want it for children's book illustration, if you just want it for editorial, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Got it. So I'd like to sort of finish this off with like 2 or 3 little mini questions. You can answer them however you like. So sort of generally get a vibe for people that I'm talking to, and I'd like to ask these little mini questions at the end, which is a couple of these things. 1, do you have any regrets? That's a deep question right there. I just went there. I just went from like, hey, how do we get agents, to like, do you have any regrets? It gives perspective. That's the reason I'm asking this.
In what way? Like having agents, or in general,
or in say work, things pertaining to or relating to work, anything, things like that?
Yeah, sometimes I think like, why did I go into art field, and what if I had a normal job and like put in my hours, and the end of the day at like 6 o'clock I'm free to do my own stuff. To have a life sometimes.
We were literally talking about this yesterday, right? But and in the end, after us talking about all these things, having normal jobs and doing art, and then we just come back to this. Wait, I'd rather just do my art thing.
Like, okay, you were as an artist, like financial matters matter a lot. When you want to support your art, you need money and so on.
Obviously.
So if you're not meeting like your yearly quota, or what you want to, like the budget that you want to, like the numbers that you want to meet monthly, you always think like, is it worth it? Like, how am I going to do this, and how am I going to pay my bills, and so on and so forth. But
no, I think it's sort of to add more to this, which is this, because when you're saying that, it all of a sudden gave me a thought, which was this whole thing, right? This whole thing of I need to hit a particular quota when it comes to my income, right, in a particular year, so that I can actually make a living. I can be a little bit safer. I can invest or save and do things like that. I think that is a problem that's pretty much everywhere, actually. Even in those people who have normal, regular, steady jobs, and it's. I often say this, which is there are 2 kinds of people in the world, which is 1, people who work for themselves, and 2, people who work for others who work for themselves. In the sense, right? In the sense,
like having career and a job.
Yeah. So more like people who work for themselves take the risk, and they are on the front line of the battle, and they're able to see the risk and they're able to face the risk, and they need to know, and they need to do take the necessary actions in order to sort of make the living, right? Make a living. But people who work for those kinds of people also have the risk. It's just that the risk is sort of blind. They're not able to see it because people on the front line, they're taking the risks for them, and they're instead of the risk, they're given sort of like a steady paycheck to sort of nullify the risk and give. They take the risk away and give you security.
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty much everywhere, from small business owners to big corporate giants who are like, we have to hit our revenue numbers this year, or else we won't be able to cover our overhead this month because of COVID or some other reason, right? Things like that. That is, when you said that, it actually weirdly eases me, because I was thinking
we
about
are on the same boat.
Yeah, right. It sort of eases me. It's like, okay, everybody's facing it, and everybody has that question.
Yeah, as an adult, you have to think about these things. You're forced to think about these things.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes I was like, it would be so easy for me to go it would be, my life was so much nicer when I was in college and I didn't have to think about all this stuff. I always go back to thinking about
That's always the good times, the school, the college days, because we don't have huge responsibilities on our shoulders, right?
I think we're starting a completely different topic. We can go about an hour.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll keep it short.
I don't mind. It's okay.
No. I'll keep it. I don't want this podcast to be 2.5 hours long. So last question. You can answer it pretty quickly. If you were to go back in time and give your 5-year younger self an advice, so however old you are right now, let's say you go back in time 5 to 6 years, or even 10 years, or 7 years, and you were able to talk to that person, give them some pieces of wisdom, right? What would that be?
I would say be patient. Be patient, and good things will come. Do your research properly, and observe other people and observe other people's work, how they're doing it, and try to understand and hit those marks.
Okay.
It's like it's not like you have to do exactly what they are doing, but make your own process.
Right. Build your own process.
Take bits and pieces and make your own puzzle piece. You don't you cannot have someone else's exact puzzle piece. You have your own, and then take bits and pieces and make your own picture, and things will work out.
Right. We're talking about style right there, sort of a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the punchline is things will work out. You just got to be patient.
Things will work out. Yeah.
Yeah. Be patient. Yeah.
Be patient. Be vigilant also.
In what sense?
And sometimes it might help to do trends on Instagram and all those things to just get yourself out.
Right.
Some things might click.
Right.
It's diversifying helps. For example, going back to the financial question, when you're working in a job, you cannot do 100 things. You cannot do different things while you're working in your full-time job. You're paid to do a certain thing, and you have to do that. In an artist case, you can do editorial, you can do children's books, you can do so many things. You can teach, so on and so forth. You can do product design, you can do illustration for products. So in a way, diversify yourself, so that's what you said, don't go out of business.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
make yourself go out of business. I'm not framing the analogy in the best way.
No, you're spot on.
Yeah, so coming back to the question, you cannot see way in the future what's gonna happen and what's the outcome is gonna be, but keep showing up.
Yeah. Aditi, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And this
Thank
whole
you. It's an absolute pleasure talking to you too.
This whole thing was like a therapy session. because it seems like we're having very similar experiences. Yeah, obviously going in different paths, but the principles of the problems or principles of the challenges seem to be the same. And a lot of what you were saying and a lot of what we were talking about just kept on like, be patient, things will work out, right? That's always been my mantra as well, and it has paid off with proper dividends. And I think, yeah, being more applying more of that strategy would really help. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Where can people find you? Where do you want to lead people to?
They can find me on Instagram with the handle Tiki Lava, and on Behance with Aditi Kakade. Yeah, Aditi Kakade Beaufrand, but Aditi Kakade would work too.
Aditi Kakade would work too. All right. Great then. Thank you so much, and hope to talk again in the future.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Cool.
All right, and see.